Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
And why their due process rights are being so flagrantly and horrifically violated.
Stupid.
You idiot!
Found Nation, Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's Wednesday. Got a good Wednesday show for you all today. And yes, I am repeating myself, if only to remember which day it is, because they're all kind of blending together at this point. Damn, I need a vacation. Okay. Anyway, we've got fun stuff. We're going to talk about Lauren Boebert. Boebert family values, everybody. Lots of fun. Very interesting. Little drama. Lots of drama, actually. We have a witness laughing at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Hey, look, you say clownish things, you're going to get laughs. You're going to get responses. So we have that. We have Florida teachers, one of them resigning over the politics. And that story is insane. It's fascism. Oh boy. Censorship, whatever you want to call it. Happening in Florida. Then we're going to go and talk about work requirements, Kevin McCarthy, and then briefly touch on what's going on with Dianne Feinstein. She's not getting better. She's getting worse. There was a reporter that had a very disturbing back and forth with her about, what she's been doing. It's not going well. And I would reiterate that it is time for Dianne Feinstein to step aside, to not be in politics, because at this point, it's abuse to her. So, yeah. Also, apparently, Laura Ingraham fired. Well, that's probably because Laura Ingraham has gone even more and more insane in her rhetoric. I could probably talk about that tomorrow, because I don't have the story up or ready, prepared, or anything like that. So, it's a good idea. We'll talk about that. Okay, with that, why don't we go into some interpersonal family drama, the Boeberts. I'm pressing buttons here. The best buttons. The greatest buttons.
I'm cognitively there.
Very, very true. Very. Oh, yeah, by the way, you are correct, Woozle 1967. This does call for something a little bit special. I'm pretty sure you know what's coming. Megyn Kelly.
Fired! Fired!
You're fired.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, there we go. Quite overdue, I'd say. True. All right, thank you for that reminder. Sometimes I got to be reminded of my own fun soundboard. So, and of course, I will always take the opportunity to use fun sound effects. Of course. Okay, let's move on. Let's do it. What did Feinstein not think that she was gone for 3 months? Stick around for the story. It's actually quite depressing. Like, yeah, stick around. I can't wait to depress you all. Yay. Woo. Oh, please like and share the stream, by the way. Especially, like, if you get depressed. Okay. This is yeah. It's a weird show. I do a weird show here, but it's fun. You know what isn't fun? Apparently divorce. Never been there, never did it, but I can't imagine it's fun. Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert has filed for divorce from her husband of nearly 2 decades. Now, look, I would not normally care about the private affairs of other people or politicians, but here we are. There are exceptions to this. And no, I don't just mean because they're Republicans. The reason that I generally pick on Republicans for these kinds of things is because of their stances and their hypocrisy. But anyway, let's get into the details before we get too far into that commentary. According to court records obtained Tuesday by the Daily Beast, the April 25th filing seeks to dissolve her marriage to Jason Boebert. Lauren told the Daily Beast in a statement Tuesday that the divorce was due to irreconcilable differences. Hey, it's no good when marriages fall apart. But from what I understand of the relationship, it seemed a little toxic on both sides. So I know this is the weird time where I'm going to like CNN it and kind of be in the middle of this whole thing. In her statement, she noted this, quote, "I've always been faithful in my marriage, and I believe strongly in marriage. Apparently not strongly enough. Which makes this announcement that much more difficult. This is truly about irreconcilable differences." Now, that's a weird statement in itself. I mean, wait, was somebody accusing Lauren Boebert of cheating, or was there accusations of Jason Boebert cheating? I don't know. Why bring that? Why bring that? Well, I was faithful. Generally, you don't say stuff like that when you're I don't know. Maybe I haven't made enough or any divorce announcements, so I don't necessarily know how it's supposed to work. But this just seems a little odd. It's a weird statement. It seems like there's some passive aggressiveness here. But what wasn't passive aggressive, just aggressive, is apparently what the response was from Jason Boebert on being served. This affidavit of service. Now, that was obtained by the Daily Beast, and apparently Jason was caught off guard by this divorce announcement, these proceedings. According to the affidavit, he had chased away a process server while screaming expletives at them, and then called the dogs on him, essentially. Release the hounds! You're going to serve me? You're not going to serve me anything. I'm going to serve you. Some dogs that are going to bite you and chase you away or something. I didn't really think this whole thing through. Wow. Okay. Now, once he learned that he was being served with the dissolution of marriage papers, he was extremely angry, the process server wrote. Hey, look, that's an understandable human reaction. What? I didn't know. What? Divorce papers? What's going on here? What? I get it, but why go after the server? I understand. Shoot the messenger, essentially. That's what this is. Now, the server wrote, I tried to hand him the documents, but he did not take them. He started yelling and using profanities and told me he was told me that I was trespassing and that he was calling the sheriff's office. I'm pretty sure that Jason, given his record, has a, pretty good, well, maybe not good relationship with the local police, the sheriff, but, they have to know each other. Now, he said, I told him that I was leaving the documents on the chair outside the door. He closed the door and then let the dogs out. So now we do have an answer to the age-old question of who let the dogs out. Apparently it was Jason Boebert. The document noted that Jason, during the time, was cleaning a gun and drinking a tall glass of beer when he was served. Two very, two things that go very much hand in hand, apparently, in the Boebert household. Guns and booze. Great. So, look, Jason Boebert, the more that I learn about him, the more, he seems like a creepy groomer. I wouldn't be shocked to find out that he's an abuser. Now, why do I say that? Well, Boebert previously said that she met Jason when she was 16 years old, working at a fast food joint, while he was 22 at the time. Creeping on a 16-year-old? Okay, that's a little creepy. But they're apparently in the Boebert household, super classy. The couple had their first child when she was 18 and recently shared that they were about to become grandparents. Boebert is 36. She's younger than I am. Crazy. But okay. All right. That's how they do their thing. That's all right. Well, they marry him off and get him pregnant young, apparently. At least in that place. Now, Boebert, the Boeberts had some issues with the law as well. So this gets back to the Jason being super creepy weirdo. In 2004, he was arrested for exposing himself, his genitals, to 2 minors at a bowling alley. Pleaded guilty to it. Boebert was 17 when she was there too at the bowling alley. And even after that, and his pretty weak sauce excuse for this, right? Oh, no, I was just showing these girls my tattoo that was on my penis. Yeah, okay, sure. Okay. Now I've got something for that.
Really?
Oh, is that what you're going with? Oh, interesting. Now, she stayed with him, obviously, that same year. Both Jason and Lauren were arrested for separate incidents in which they had reportedly abused each other. Jason was arrested on domestic violence charges that February, while Lauren was hit with charges of third-degree assault, criminal mischief, and underage drinking. Boebert was arrested again in 2015 for disorderly conduct at a country music festival and was charged with careless driving a year later after rolling your truck into a ditch. More recently, neighbors of the couple called the police in August and accused Jason of just running over their mailbox and threatening them. And likely there was alcohol involved. 911 calls obtained by the Denver Post, and neighbors heard yelling to the dispatcher, it's Lauren Boebert's jackass husband. He's running over my mailbox. Stop, you jackass. Get the F out of here. Hey, look, it's true. It's a pretty jackass move. Wow. So, now, look, they had some serious issues, it seems like. Apparently there were a lot of drinking, a lot of partying, a lot of Jason exposing himself to minors. And again, that's not to say that Lauren is innocent herself in all of this. But yeah, it's a weird situation, a weird relationship. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if there was there's a lot of information that we don't actually know about this. And honestly, don't really need to know, shouldn't know, and hopefully we don't know. Or find out. Now, that said, speaking of the Daily Beast via text message, Jason Boebert said that he was upset, understandably so, but denied that he said anything bad to the process server and that his dogs were no threat. But you don't really know that. I mean, if you're the process server and somebody sicks their dogs on you, you're not going to be like thinking, oh, no, let's not worry about it. He said, quote, I did not know what I was being served for, or if it was some crazy left-wing person coming to my house again. Wait, what? Has this happened? Has a left-wing person ever came to Lauren Boebert's house? I don't know. I would. That's interesting. I'd like to hear, if that's actually something that really happened. But he said, I was not drinking, and I was not cleaning my gun. The divorce is sad. I did not expect this. I love her with every bit of my heart. She has been my soulmate, and she is the mother of my children. Well, apparently she does not she does not agree with you. He also says, we've been through a lot together, and I just want her to be happy. So it's whatever she wants. Hey, man, look, that's rough, buddy. Isn't it weird, though, how people like this say that when you get married early, like when you're still in your teens, that leads to longer, happier marriages. Apparently not. Not in this case. Never really seems to work out that way. Now, again, I know this isn't my business, and yeah, okay, it's lowbrow. Let's be honest. And I'm probably a bad person for talking about it. I'll accept all of that. But like, these are people who are pushing so-called traditional values on everyone else. Lauren Boebert, famous for doing so. And again, the same kinds of people who say gay people shouldn't be able to get married because it disrespects the institution of marriage. Well, what do you think this is? This feels like it would be a disrespect to the institution of marriage, wouldn't it? I mean, treating your marriage like this, Lauren. So hypocrisy. Even though they don't care, I still think it's fun to point it out. It's interesting to point it out. And honestly, if Lauren, as she says in a statement, that she wants this to be a private thing, I'd respect that. If you would agree to a deal. So, Lauren, we'll respect your privacy. We'll respect and never talk about this again if she promises to get out of everyone else's lives. Stop telling people who to marry. Stop telling people who can divorce. Stop telling people, that they can't be transgender. They can't transition. I mean, stop telling people that. And look, by the way, you have people like Steven Crowder who rail against no-fault divorce, while ironically getting a divorce. But hey, look, I wouldn't care about any of this stuff. And I'd never want to talk about it again. I feel dirty talking about it. So please do me a favor. Do us all a favor and get out of our lives, and we'll get out of yours. Deal? Deal? I'd take that deal in a second. In a second. Stop telling people who can get married. Stop telling people who can get, whether or not they can get divorced or what they can do with their lives, their personal lives, who they love, how they can identify, and we'll stay out of your life. Real simple. Real simple. I mean, Lauren, you can get married, you can divorce whoever you want. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't have an impact on my life. Why don't you have the same respect for everyone else? Especially when what we do, what everyone else does, has no impact on your life. Deal? I recall her telling a group of people that women were lesser than men. Yeah, I do remember that. Laura Boebert should probably stop pushing her family values onto others. Yeah, I wish she would. I wish she would. Okay. Let's move on to Marjorie Greene. Okay. A witness during a committee hearing on supposed left-wing violence gave the most appropriate response to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
You think this is funny, Miss Spitalnik? Is this funny to you? Is babies being murdered in the womb funny to you? Because you're smirking and laughing at me right now.
What's not funny are the Black people and Hispanic people and Jewish people and Muslim people who have been murdered in synagogue, in church, in supermarkets, in mosque by white supremacists.
Is this funny to you? Is this funny? Yes, it is, Lauren. I'm sorry. Yes, it is, Marjorie, because you're a clown. That's what, it's funny. It is funny. That entire hearing was nothing more than a clown show. The woman who, by the way, laughed at Marjorie Greene is Executive Director of Integrity First for America, Amy Spitalnik. Now, she is an expert on political violence, unlike Marjorie Greene, who isn't an expert on anything. In fact, well, you know what? That's not fair. She is an expert on something. She is an expert in false equivocation. And I'm about to give you an example of that.
As we were being gavelled in, we experienced some left-wing extremism of our own on the second floor of this building while we've been in here. The Center for Popular Democracy invaded our office building this afternoon to push their extreme agenda on everything from climate to the debt ceiling. Approximately a dozen were arrested while we were sitting in this hearing room. Thankfully, my staff brought over pictures to share with you all. This happened right here in the rotunda of the Cannon building while we were sitting here in this hearing, having this hearing on left-wing extremism. I mean, you kind of can't even make this up. But George Soros funded it. It's the Open Society that funds this group.
Oh, turns out you actually can make things up. Not about the protest. There was a protest, actually, and I'm going to get into more details about that. And by the way, there were people that were arrested. And so, oh, look at that. She actually presented something factual, sort of. But all the stuff about George Soros, come on.
Jewish space lasers.
Left-wing extremist violence. All that stuff's made up. Not real. Now, this protest that had happened during this committee hearing was not violent. Well, then why were they arrested? Well, the reason they were arrested is that they were protesting on Capitol grounds. In fact, I have the exact code that the police, the DC police used to cite them. Now, first, before we get to that, we have an unidentified spokesman for the Capitol Police saying, quote, multiple warnings, which are standard practice for demonstrations, were given to a group of people demonstrating inside of the Cannon Rotunda. They were protesting on Capitol grounds. That's about it. We had 12 arrests, 10 women, and 2 men for 22-1307, demonstrating inside of a congressional building. So now, the things that applied to this one, for DC Criminal Code 22-1307, is crowding, obstructing, or incommoding. Subsection B, which relies to this, which relates to this, says it is unlawful for a person, alone or in concert with others, to engage in a demonstration in an area where it is otherwise unlawful to demonstrate, and to continue or resume engaging in a demonstration after being instructed by a law enforcement officer to cease engaging in a demonstration. So they were protesting. Cops said, hey, cut it out, take it outside. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. Now, demonstrating. What's demonstrating? For the purpose of this subsection, and this is subsection 2, the term demonstration means marching, congregating, standing, sitting, lying down, parading, demonstrating, or patrolling by one or more persons, with or without signs, for the purpose of persuading one or more individuals or the public, or to protest some action, attitude, or belief. where's the violence? Where's the extremist leftist violence here? No, that's civil disobedience. That's what that is. Nonviolent resistance. Nonviolent protest. No assault, no violence. What's the issue? But Marjorie Greene, she compared it to violent extremism. Violent right-wing extremism, by the way. It's a total false equivalence. There is no left-wing extremism in this country that compares at all to white supremacist violence. There's no comparison here. None at all. But she goes on to use a talking point of abortion helping white supremacy. Now, since she is a dumb person, I have to explain this very simply. Okay? Abortion is a choice. So it's not white supremacy when a black person or a Latinx person decides to get an abortion. Now, if they were forced to do so, for example, if white people were forcing black or Latinx women to get abortions, or forcing them to be sterilized, as we have had stories about, by the way, prisons in certain southern states that were forcibly sterilizing black women, again, against their will, and there were also immigrant Latinx women who were forcibly done, sterilized and had medical experiments done on them by our Border Patrol officers. That would be examples of white supremacy. Situations where this has happened, the forcible, not abortion, but sterilization of indigenous women. That's white supremacy. But allowing black and Latinx women, in order to choose to have bodily autonomy, that is not the same thing. If you say so, if you're making that argument, you're disingenuous. 100%. It's a ridiculous argument, is what it is. Forced sterilization is happening in the United States today, and it hasn't gone away. Yes, it's happening in the prison systems. Now, she also equivocates what happened with Riley Gaines. So now Riley Gaines is against trans people. She came to speak to that forum, that hearing on left-wing extremism, because she was not allowed to talk at a campus, basically. Pushed out of her room on a college campus, bullied. You know what? Marjorie Greene called that, quote-unquote, trans terrorism. And then ascribed a political motive where we don't know, by the way, to the Tennessee shooter. We don't know the motive. We don't know why they engaged in that shooting. He, in this case, because he identifies as a male, transgender. There's no manifesto like the right wing claims that there is. Oh, why not release the manifesto, trans terrorism? By the way, if this turns out to be political, if there is a political motive to the Tennessee shooting, the fact would still remain that the right wing men do the most active terrorism in this country. It's not even close. The vast majority is carried out by, at this point, white, right-wing, cisgendered men. A fact that Ms. Spitalnik readily points out.
The statistics tell us that when it comes to politically motivated violence, in 2022, every single murder was committed by a right-wing extremist.
Every single murder in America was committed by a right-wing extremist?
Every single politically motivated murder was committed by a right-wing extremist.
Are you sure about that?
I am.
Are you aware that the Tennessee shooter just recently identified as a man and she was a biological woman? Was she a right-wing extremist as well?
Gentle lady's time has expired. I'll allow the witness to answer the question.
So that was a shooting that happened in 2023. There is no evidence as to what ideology motivated that shooting. And what we do know is that Cisgender males are responsible for the vast majority of mass shootings in this country.
I'm sorry, I don't know what a cisgender male is. There's only two genders. It's male and female. That would be that. So no one knows what a cisgender male is. It's a made up.
Unfortunately,
idea.
anti-trans invasion.
Dumbest person alive. Jesus. Oh, I don't know what I don't know what a cisgender male is. That doesn't exist. Now, just because you don't know what it is, and you do know what it is, by the way, just because you don't know what it is doesn't mean it's not real. God. Stupid. No, you idiot. Okay. Jesus. And then, by the way, every politically motivated murder, or every murder in the United States is done by a right winger. No, not every murder. She said in 2022, every politically motivated murder was enacted by a white right winger. Look, the thing that's frustrating here is in a normal world, somebody like Marjorie Greene wouldn't be like anywhere near power, anywhere near having this office. But in today's messed up world, messed up politics, she is considered to be a right-wing genius. I'm not kidding. I wish I was. I wish I was. But apparently, no. Darling of the right wing. She has power. She has power. And by the way, you saw that during the clips that I showed you. She revels. She bathes in her ignorance and only pushes her own extreme agenda while calling on everyone else extreme. It's projection to the max. I mean, what other reaction, getting back to Spitalnik here and laughing, is what other reaction can you have to someone like this when you hear this kind of just ignorant nonsense other than to laugh? I mean, the only thing I can think of is either be so incredibly depressed that you're here, that you're in this room, that you're listening to someone say the most ignorant crap, and knowing that she has a lot of power and a lot of influence over other human beings' lives, and is actively using that power to harm others. Oof. Okay. That level of hatred is exhausting. Isn't it, though? It absolutely is. All right. Well, let's move on. Here we go again. Another story.
The wokers.
A Florida teacher is under state investigation for showing a Disney movie because apparently it was too woke.
The wokers.
Now, the movie, Strange World, features a gay character, and it was shown in a 5th grade class while their peers were finishing some standardized testing. So, okay. Now the Disney film tells the story of a family of explorers and includes a character who happens to be gay. And what's the deal? Apparently, there was a parent that was triggered. Now, the teacher, named Jenna Barbie, is under investigation by the state of Florida for violating their, what we dubbed as the Don't Say Gay law. Now, that bans the teaching of gender identity and sexual orientation and has been recently expanded all the way through primary education, K through 12. So, can't talk about or mention anything about gay people. Just their existence is enough. Now, this movie, again, this is a PG movie. This is made for children. So there's not going to be anything that's inappropriate in it. But apparently, the existence of a gay person, of a gay character in a movie that is not a harmful stereotype cannot be allowed.
Can't let that happen.
It's amazing. So now look, this is what I mean when I say the right wing tries to erase LGBTQI plus people. This is part of it. Erase them from existence. Just the fact that a gay character actually exists in the movie, that is somehow beyond the pale for these people. And now they're empowered by this law, which allows, if a parent complains, to have a teacher suspended or have their teaching license revoked. But please, talk about how, how it's we believe in freedom and we're against censorship. We hate censorship so much, except we're totally going to censor everything. Now, Barbie said that she wasn't aware of the state's law that had been, she wasn't aware the state's law had been expanded to apply to her grade level. This is something that happened recently. And she said, I just found out today that they increased it to my level. I had no idea whatsoever that this was such a big deal. Well, normally it wouldn't be. In a normal society, this wouldn't be a big deal at all. Again, seeing a gay character, there's nothing wrong with gay characters. There's nothing wrong with gay people. Trying to bar children from seeing or knowing about the existence of gay people, what does that tell them? I mean, obviously, it tells people, the children, that, we're not allowed to hear about gay people, so there must be something wrong with gay people. But there's not. There's not. And look, seeing a gay character doesn't make anybody gay. Seeing a trans character doesn't make anybody trans. It's not what's happening. That's not real. If it was, I mean, look, the majority of our cartoons and TV shows heavily feature straight characters. If that were the case, where you were influenced by media to be, in this case, straight, then gay people wouldn't exist. Trans people wouldn't exist. I mean, it's the entire argument is ridiculous. Oh, they're learning it from the media. No, they're not. Oh, but you don't understand. The people that are identifying as gay and trans are increasing. Why is that? It's because society overall, aside from some weird bigots, is more accepting of gay and trans people, so that people who are already gay and trans, they feel a little bit more comfortable in coming out. Now, that is, of course, met with a gigantic backlash from bigoted state legislators. But generally, the vast majority of average people don't really care. Oh, you're gay, whatever. You're trans. Oh, I don't quite understand it, but sure, I doesn't harm me, doesn't hurt my life at all. Okay, whatever, right? And then, again, it's okay to not understand if you're not in that community. It's okay to not understand. It's okay to want more information or need more information. It's totally fine. And it's fine to ask questions, by the way. It's not fine to criminalize their lives. It's not a crime. Or, I'm sorry, it's not fine to, go after people for living their lives, for being who they are, living their truth. And yeah, it shouldn't be a crime to be gay and trans. Again, the people who are, resorting to censorship is just, they're snowflakes. Now, the state found out because a parent had complained. This parent also happens to be a member of the school board. So now the parent, member of a Hernando County School Board, complained to the principal that the movie is not appropriate for students. According to Karen Jordan, spokesman for Hernando County Schools, the parent is school board member Shen Rodriguez. And she said that Barbie should have gotten the specific movie approved by school administrators and said that the teacher is playing victim. But wait, she already had permission slips that were signed for all PG movies. This was a PG movie. Oh, but no, you have to get this particular specific movie screened first. We have to bring it by the government screeners. That's what we have to do, right? Or in this case, the school board screeners, to make sure that it's not indoctrination of the children's. What? She said, quote, it is not a teacher's job to impose their beliefs upon a child. Religious, sexual orientation, gender identity, any of the above. Well, now, wait a minute. That runs contrary to what Shannon Rodriguez has said earlier about her religion. I'll get to that quote. But she continued in a May 9th school board meeting, quote, allowing movies such as this assist teachers in opening a door. And please hear me. They assist teachers in opening a door for conversations that have no place in our classrooms. What doors? What door? They opening a big door that says gay on it? Is that what they're doing? Maybe in their, bizarre imaginations, you open that gay door and they go right through. No. I mean, they literally think, one day they're watching a Disney movie in school, and the next day they're a trans leftist.
Pink-haired communist.
Oh, yeah.
Can't let that happen.
Can't let that happen. Oh, my. You see, that's what happens. Leftist ideology, indoctrination. No, these people are insane. Really, really insane people. Just incredibly insecure. The absolute snowflakery going around here is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, before this incident, Barbie had been, pretty bummed out. Let's just say that, about the direction that the school board has been going, and actually had submitted her resignation previously, about a week before this had happened. So, and you could argue, maybe she's just like, I don't care. I'll show this movie anyway. Doesn't matter because I'm leaving in a week. But I don't know. But she did say that she left because of the politics and the fear of not being able to be who you are in the public school system. I mean, that's absolutely true. It's an absolute valid point. And it's also a disaster because she's probably not the only one. All the teachers are going to be leaving Florida pretty soon. Many already have. At least the good ones. And then you're going to be stuck with ones who are okay with the DeSantis regime, or ones that are just too afraid to leave. And I can understand that too. I understand that this is a climate of fear and repression now. You have fascists in control of education in Florida. But what Florida is not doing is it's not fighting indoctrination. They are doing the indoctrination. They're doing the indoctrination. Now, Barbie said that she played the movie as part of a unit on earth sciences and ecosystems, and explained that the investigation has only made her students more curious about why the film was being treated as controversial. So the kids are watching and they're like, I don't see anything wrong with this. What's wrong? I don't see the problem. Quote, all my students are asking, why is that so wrong? Why is it inappropriate? Why are you in so much trouble because of this little part of the movie? And I just have to keep saying, go ask your parents about it. Quote, I was never trying to indoctrinate my students by showing them something that had differences in diversity. I was showing them a movie that related to our curriculum and our Earth, that also taught many valuable life lessons that also correlate to our Florida best standards. Barbie had also addressed the school board during the public comment period of its May 9th meeting, telling them the movie's content was not sexual, it's PG, and was relevant to her lesson on ecosystems and the environment. She also pointed out one of the contradictions in Rodriguez's comments, quote, a school board member, an elected official of power, who was supposed to be a nonpartisan, was supposed to be nonpartisan, is allowed to present to the public that she is Christian and that God appointed her to the board. Wait, she then says, and yet it is indoctrination that I showed a Disney movie? That's a devastating point. Rodriguez responded by saying, as a leader in this community, I'm not going to stand by and allow this minority to infiltrate our schools. God did put me here. Wait, what? What? Wait, you said that religion doesn't belong in schools and that you shouldn't be, quote, it is not a teacher's job to impose their beliefs upon a child. Religious, sexual orientation, gender identity, any of the above. And yet you're saying, well, obviously God put me in this position so that I can impress my religion and my beliefs onto children through our curriculum. You know, the entitlement of these people is just, I mean, it's amazing. Hey, you know who put her there? One God. It was the voters. And the voters put you in. The voters can take you out. I'm so sick of these people. I'm sick of entitled, self-righteous bigots. And that's all they are. All they want to do is control other people's lives. And they want to do so because they live in a fantasy world. No, F off. Look, it sucks that that teacher has to leave, that she had to resign due to this climate of fear, but I'm glad she's speaking out because this is what's going on in Florida. This is what's going on. This is what people are doing. This is the result of Ron DeSantis and his so-called war against woke. Okay. These people don't make sense. True. Very true. Okay. Ooh. Republican Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy wants you to work. Work if you die, well, I should say work until you die. Even if you're retired, even if you're disabled, you're unable to work, doesn't matter. If you want government benefits at all, you're going to have to work for them. On Tuesday, Kevin McCarthy recently pushed work requirements for all social safety net programs as part of his debt ceiling negotiations with President Joe Biden. Here's what he said.
What work requirements actually do help people get a job. Every data point shows that, and it helps people move forward. So the public wants it. Both parties want it. The idea that they want to put us into a default because they will not work with on that is ludicrous to me.
And you're talking about SNAP. What program are you talking about specifically?
Look, we're talking about all the programs because it helps people get into a job. And what does it mean when somebody gets in a job? They get better pay. They're able to buy their houses, but it also helps our supply chain going forward.
Yeah, we're talking about all the programs. All the programs. What, like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP? All of them? All the programs. He said all the programs are on the table for work requirements. So look, there's so much that's wrong with this, obviously, and so much of what he said that's not true. But let's get to the most obvious thing, right? Putting Social Security on the table and having work requirements for that. Social Security is, you've already paid for it. You worked your entire life to pay for it. That's what you get, the ability to retire with some measure of dignity. Now, that said, Social Security does not pay enough in benefits. No, Social Security needs to be expanded. There's very few politicians that are actually working to do that. One of them happens to be Bernie Sanders, whereas Republicans have been mainly pushing to cut Social Security by raising the retirement age, which is an effective cut in benefits. Now, for disability, you get it if you are unable to work. I mean, that's pretty simple, right? Now, that said, there are situations where you can work while on disability. So now, generally, if you're on disability, it's because you can't do a full-time job. You have some sort of disability, obviously. So now people on disability can work and are encouraged to if possible. And there are programs to be able to help them do so. But again, it's only part-time. And generally, you have an income limit to how much you can make from substantial gainful activity. That's what they call it, SGA. And that limit is actually really low. Generally on Social Security, you can only earn from your job around $1,400 a month. Anything above that is considered to be substantial gainful activity, and you get kicked off the program. You no longer get disability payments. So we're talking really, really, really low amount of income, especially if you're working in, or living in places like New York or LA, where it costs easily $3,000 to $4,000 for an apartment. Even with benefits and working that cap, you still can't even afford a home. You can't afford an apartment in New York City or LA as somebody on disability. So understand how low income you are on disability and how much you are limited in how much you can actually receive from disability, which can be anywhere from, I think, $1,000 to maybe $1,500 a month, depending. And there are different factors that, basically go to calculate how much you will earn, you will get from the disability program. But simply put, there are people that work on disability. There are people that can, but their earnings are often very, very low. And so people like McCarthy, though, they'll look at that and they say, we want everyone to work. Even if you can't, go ahead. We're still going to do work requirements. So now he says in that clip, well, it helps people. It helps people get a job. No, it actually doesn't. It doesn't actually help people get a job. How does having work requirements help people get employed? But there's no evidence of that. There's no studies that show that. There's just nothing to back him up whatsoever. Now, on different programs, for example, Medicaid, usually they're not able to work because, well, generally due to things like childcare. For example, they're very low income. They can't afford childcare, or, they have some sort of medical issue. And for SNAP program, obviously, they don't have enough money to feed their families, even if they are working. And there are a large amount of people who are on the SNAP program, somewhere around 40%, that do work and receive benefits, but don't make enough from their jobs. Again, there's so many people that are on these programs that already work. Now, McCarthy also claimed that, again, forcing people who may not be physically or emotionally able to work, or who may have responsibilities that prevent them from being able to leave the house and get a job, somehow that helps the supply chain. How exactly? I mean, again, all of this is just absolutely ridiculous. Once again, Americans that generally take use these programs, a lot of them work. Again, 41% of SNAP recipients are working families. You have the obvious people that are on disability, that are disabled, that cannot work, and then we have an economy that basically is designed to not have full employment. I mean, again, that's literally how it's designed. We will never get to full employment. Anytime that we would get close, well, there would be a problem. In fact, look, right now we have the Federal Reserve that continues to raise interest rates in the hopes that it will increase unemployment, which they claim will force inflation downward, increasing unemployment. No, our economy is designed to have a permanent underclass of people who do not have jobs. If you require put a work requirement in for those people, and they can't get jobs, even when, by the way, jobs are available, but there are employers that do not want to fill said jobs. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. It does happen. Because why pay more for labor when you could just heap a bunch of responsibility on whatever employees you have? It doesn't matter if they burn out. We'll just hire another one. That's what's going on here. So, as a lot of you point out, the cruelty here is the point, putting work requirements on these people, because then, when they're not able to get a job, they're not able to get these benefits. And that's an excuse to cut those benefits so that they can give tax cuts to their donors, freeing up government money to send to already wealthy corporations. That's it. That's generally the plan, and it doesn't matter to people like Kevin McCarthy, other Republicans, how many people are actually hurt by this. Doesn't matter. Now, that said, bad news related to this is that Biden, while saying he's not going to accept work requirements that impact the medical health needs of people, he said it is possible that there could be a few work requirements put in, quote, but not anything of consequence. No, that is not what you're doing. That is not what you should be doing. You should be saying no work requirements whatsoever. They don't work. We have facts. We have studies to prove it. It is a non-starter. And I actually have to give a little bit of credit here to House Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries, who said that it's a non-starter. Work requirements, non-starter. Now, look, I don't know if he's going to hold that position. Democrats, one of my main criticisms of them is they tend to fold, they tend to cave a little bit too easily to Republican demands. Especially, you have to understand, this debt ceiling negotiations are just theater. It's political theater. And why do I say that? Well, how am I so sure that the government will not default on the debt? If Democrats were to say, I'm not going to negotiate at all, F off, Republicans, non-starter, you're just going to pass a clean debt limit increase. That's the position I would go for. Now, if you listen to some, corporate outlets, they're like, oh, well, Joe Biden has to negotiate. He has to give the Republicans something. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to give them a damn thing. And again, you know why? Because there is going to be a debt limit increase. It's going to happen. Because if it doesn't, it's going to crash the stock market. And you know who has a lot of money in the stock market? Members of Congress. You think that they're going to imperil their own stock portfolios? No. All of this is just theater. Negotiation. Oh, we got to negotiate with Kevin McCarthy. You don't have to negotiate a goddamn thing. You can just say, you're going to do it. I know why you're going to do it, because you're invested in the stock market. That's it. You have to do it. You can't just force us into your bullshit negotiations. No, I'm not having it. I'm not listening. Pass it now. They're not going to let the debt limit, they're not going to let the economy crash, because it's just going to crash again, their own portfolios, and they're never going to let that happen. But nonetheless, they're using it to try to get $4.5 trillion in cuts from poor people, from average working class people, cutting food stamps from 40 million low-income Americans. That's their plan, because again, it's the cruelty. The cruelty is the point. the stonks. It's true. We'll know in 14 days. Democrats may cave. That's the problem. Of course, Cindy, that is the problem. It's just, it's such a bullshit game. And that's going to do real harm to regular working people who need these programs. Okay. I'll save the Dianne Feinstein story for tomorrow. Let's move on here. Actually, that's it for the show. I'm out of time. All right. So, everybody, please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Very important that you do so. I'm going to read some super chats from our YouTube page. Member comments first. Jonathan Leiter says, I formally nominate Marjorie Taylor Greene for Queen of Stupid. Do I have a second? I don't know. Queen sounds too much of a regal title for her. More than what she deserves. Yes! Definitely stupid, though. Okay. Thank you for the very kind, of course, super chat. Appreciate that. Goes to help the show. Michael Norrish with two very kind super chats, by the way. It says, couldn't agree more. I've always been faithful. Always seems so out of place in a statement unless it wasn't incidental. In other words, it didn't seem random. I know. It's crazy. Like, why would you say that? It's very strange. A bit suspicious. Sussy, if you will. A little sussy. Okay. Also, Michael Norris says, totally random comment, but I would assume the main requirement for Speaker of the House would be speaking. Why do all speakers have no skill in speech? Well, I mean, normally you would think speaker, but generally it comes down to who gets the most corporate donations. I mean, you remember John Boehner, former Speaker of the House for the Republicans, would literally pass out tobacco checks to members on the House floor. So whoever gets the most corporate donations and who's next in line usually becomes speaker. So it's got nothing to do with speaking ability, all to do with the things that we hate about politics. Okay. Gabby Mathis, thank you for the very kind gifted memberships. Appreciate that. Jonathan Leiter says, it's the old Twinkie Winkie Teletubbies BS. I think it was Tinky Winky, wasn't it? I don't remember Twinkie. Twinkie Winky. I think it was Tinky Winky. What a weird name. Okay. Anyway. Tyler Heckner says, why can't people just leave people alone? Seriously? I share in your frustration. Gabby Mathis was very kind. $20 super chat says, I'm 68 and worked since I was 16. Went to school, and if you take my SSI away, I will demonstrate. Even I can hardly walk. Screw you, McCarthy. True. And look, I will defend everyone who needs these programs. Madi Darmo says, love, peace, and solidarity. Yes! Agreed. All right, everybody. Thank you for going on the Nation Meet today. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, it was Tinky Winky. That's what it was. See, I knew what I was talking about. Designer Dragon M over on Twitch. Thank you for resubbing it tier 1 for 10 months. Says, did you hear about if a Florida bill passes, they will be paving roads there with radioactive and toxic waste? I did not hear about that. It wouldn't surprise me, but I didn't hear about that. Florida. What is wrong with you? Well, like, I realize that like a lot of people have made the joke, like Florida's the dick of the United States, and a lot of the Florida Republicans are trying to make it true, trying to become the biggest dicks in the world.
Tallywhacker.
Okay. Thank you for that, by the way. Okay, so let's raid here on Twitch. We are going to do a watch list raid. So why don't we do that? Everybody else, please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for all that stuff. Everybody, I love you all. Have a great day, and we will see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you later.
Beta bear.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Tighten up my knee. I like my knee tight.
Disappointed!
They want to make you drink Starbucks every day from now until forever.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll